In the darkest corners of the world, a nightmare creature lies in wait. And in a silent classroom, a lone student sleeps, completely unaware. He awakens not to a bell, but to a sharp, splitting headache. His eyes snap open, scanning the unfamiliar, oppressive darkness. The room is in disarray, a silent testament to some unseen struggle. He looks down to find himself in a school uniform he's never worn. A strange badge is pinned to his chest, marking him as Examinee 036. Fragments of a terrifying truth flash through his mind. This is an exam. Outside the window, a storm rages, revealing a world twisted and broken. And his first thought isn't survival, but that he forgot his umbrella. Priorities. He shakes his head, baffled by his own misplaced priorities. His one good eye scans the room as he realizes he's in a spirit scenario. The pieces start to connect, beginning with an event from 23 years ago. On that day, the world twisted into something dark and unfamiliar. Peace was shattered as paranormal events erupted across the globe. In the chaos, humanity broke, some becoming monsters, others driven to madness. But a select few awakened with new powers, becoming mankind's exorcists. To join their ranks, every candidate must pass a final, brutal examination. To prevent cheating, all knowledge of the target spirit is sealed from their minds. They even block personal memories to test their instincts, a very thorough grading system. He's already planning his career, aiming for the laziest job possible. He deduces that the teacher will set the pace for this deadly exam. He searches the empty classroom for the key that will start the scenario. His gaze falls upon a blood-stained attendance book on the teacher's desk. He cautiously reaches out, about to trigger the first event. But something makes him freeze, a sudden chill running down his spine. His focus shifts as a strange influence begins to take hold. The blackboard is scrawled with frantic messages, a chorus of desperate pleas. He realizes it's a psychic assault, designed to prey on his deepest fears. He barely manages to shake off the mental attack, his resolve hardening. The psychic assault leaves a final, desperate message scrawled in blood. He quickly deciphers the test's design, a clue from the victim's perspective. The core objective is simple: don't lend an umbrella and survive the hunt. And the bloody message revealed the finish line, Classroom 301. But he knows the obvious path is a surefire way to fail the test. But our boy isn't just aiming to pass, he wants the high score. The seating plan confirms it. He woke up in Zhang Qianqian's desk. A strange, unsettling energy emanates from the book, making him feel sick. He pieces it together. The victim was marked absent for 5 consecutive days. With a new lead, he decides his next stop is the teacher's office. He scoffs at the idea of investigating while fighting for his life. He knows the examiners expect him to play it safe, not to be a hero. A confident smirk spreads across his face. He'll defy their expectations. He knows the only way out is to descend and face the spirit head-on. He gets his bearings, realizing he started on the 4th floor. The 3rd floor hallway is just as desolate and foreboding. But as he continues his descent, he stops dead in his tracks. The landing to the 2nd floor is covered in a gruesome amount of blood. He immediately decides that's a nope and bolts back upstairs. From the safety of the 3rd floor, he cautiously peeks back down. The 2nd floor hallway is a nightmarish canvas of bloody handprints. He wisely backs away, turning his attention to a door on his current floor. It's the teacher's office, also marked with the grim signature of the spirit. A single bloody handprint is smeared across the window, a silent warning. He steps inside and a sudden cold gust of wind sweeps through the room. His gaze immediately lands on an umbrella stand by the entrance. An unnatural chill grips him, a sure sign that he's no longer alone. He finally understands the rule: the spirit needs an umbrella for itself. He must take one now because if the spirit gets it first, he'll instantly fail. But as he grabs it, a pair of glowing, monstrous eyes appear in the dark. The sound of slow, deliberate footsteps echoes from the floor above. He realizes this isn't just some random spook, it's the final boss of the exam. He'd expected to find the spirit outside, not trapped in the school with it. As if on cue, a crack of lightning illuminates the raging storm. He turns just in time to see a hooded figure at the top of the stairs. Its face is hidden in shadow, its raincoat stained with something dark. The spirit begins its slow, menacing descent, one step at a time. His mind flashes back to his training, recalling the 2 types of spirits. There are greater spirits, unique legends, and lesser spirits, localized ghosts. Knowing only lesser spirits are used in tests, he must find its weakness alone. His hands tremble, a primal fear taking over his body. But his mind is already working, questioning the spirit's motives. A cold mist escapes from the void where its face should be. He's backed into a corner with nowhere left to run. A nervous glance over his shoulder confirms his predicament. The hallway becomes an arena for a silent, deadly standoff. A gnarled finger points directly at him, a silent accusation. The spirit's question hits him like a physical blow, a psychic force coursing through him. He realizes this is one of its core rules. Its questions must be answered. Talk about a mandatory pop quiz. But through the pain, a defiant smirk forms as he gives a bizarre answer. His defiant answer is as unexpected as it is bizarre. Hawthorn berries. The spirit is visibly confused, clearly not a fan of random fruit trivia, but the psychic backlash still slams him hard against the wall. Recovering, the spirit poses its true test, a request to borrow his umbrella. Its voice echoes in his mind, a disorienting and painful assault. He clutches his head, fighting the debilitating effects of its words. The spirit raises its own umbrella, preparing to deliver a final brutal strike. But just as the blow is about to land, his eyes glow with sudden realization. The deadly weapon swings down, a killing blow meant to end the exam. With a smirk, he reveals he's cracked the code to its deadly game. He taunts the spirit, claiming his umbrella is just a snack and it should find another victim. With a flash of blue in his eye, he commands the spirit to go find its real target. The entity stumbles over its words, its simple mind short-circuiting from the bizarre suggestion. His mental assault leaves the spirit completely bewildered, unable to distinguish a weapon from a treat. The spirit's attack misses entirely as he reinforces the illusion. It's not an umbrella, it's a snack. Completely fooled, the monster turns and trudges back upstairs, hunting for its actual prey. He reveals his true power isn't just influence, it's control, but he must play dumb for the examiners. Using his talent comes at a cost, as his body temperature plummets to a deathly chill. He follows the spirit, knowing he can't reveal his full hand or the teachers will make his life difficult. Meanwhile, in a secret control room, the exam proctors are left speechless by his unbelievable performance. We cut away from the action to the proctors monitoring the exam. One examiner is shocked by his bizarre tactic, but another seems to know more. The first proctor can't believe someone with this skill isn't an elite student. A male teacher finally reveals the student's name, Yu Lian, and his talent. The talent is called absolute desperation, a rare ability to influence a spirit's logic. It's an obscure power, considered weak but useful for last-ditch survival. The teachers all agree that Yu Lian has immense but completely wasted potential. Even the higher-ups in the room seem to share this opinion. An elderly woman laments that he could have been a great asset to their forces. Instead, he's a slacker who sleeps in class and bubbles C on every test. She believes he's a polite and intelligent kid who simply gave up on himself. But another proctor defends his choice, questioning if it's wrong to prefer safety. She hopes he gets the quiet desk job he wants, arguing against forcing his destiny. The elder points to the screen, reminding them that he first has to pass the exam. Back in the scenario, Yu Lian watches the spirit depart, knowing failure is not an option. The proctor notes with concern that the spirit has already recovered from his ability. Yu Lian listens to the fading footsteps, judging the distance between him and the hunter. He spots the safe zone, classroom 301, a tempting but hollow victory. Because reaching it means failing the exam and repeating the year. A fate worse than death, apparently. The camera pans to a clock on the wall, its hands ticking towards an unknown deadline. Yu Lian calculates he has about 10 minutes left to survive this ordeal. But his confidence shatters as a sudden realization hits him. He realizes only 2 minutes have passed since the spirit left, but he quickly dismisses the panic, questioning the spirit's behavior. He recalls that this is only a fear-rank spirit, the easiest to handle. The world's threats are categorized into 5 ranks, from terror to catastrophic. Unlike spirits, exorcists can grow in power by honing their unique talents. A brutal process that can easily kill them if they're not careful. The highest ranks, insane and catastrophic, are reserved for the truly fated. But Yu Lian knows his place. He's a fear rank, and that's all he'll ever be. He reasons the spirit must be a fear rank, questioning why it stopped hunting. He recalls that every spirit has a unique method for tracking its victims. He deduces its tracking is limited to one floor, relying on its senses. Some hunt by sight, while others are guided by an acute sense of smell. The spirit's voice echoes in his mind, smelling the distinct scent of rain. With a terrifying grin, it reveals it knew he was there. So much for stealth. Realizing he's been found, Yu Lian makes a desperate escape through a window. Glass explodes outwards as he makes his daring escape. He lands on the other side, only to find the spirit waiting, demanding his umbrella. The spirit lunges, its psychic command echoing, "Lend it to me." The spirit's attack misses, shattering the floor where Yulian just stood. He dodges just in time, using the force to launch himself down the hall. With a look of grim determination, he flees down the nearest staircase. He vaults over the railing, taking a risky shortcut to the floor below. He lands on the second floor, only to find it's become even more gruesome. A question forms in his mind. Where did the spirit's bloodstains come from? He realizes if the spirit has already killed, there must be another victim, and that means there must be something on this floor that can counter it. He steps into a classroom, finding the bloody handprints covering every surface. But he recalls the spirit's hands were clean, meaning another entity is here. He confirms his theory. Every detail in this exam is a deliberate clue. And just as he connects the dots, the hunter appears in the doorway. But instead of fear, Yulian greets it with a confident taunt. The spirit looms, its featureless face a mask of cold, silent rage. He holds out the umbrella, openly challenging the spirit to come and get it. The provocation works, sending the creature into a furious charge. It soars through the air, bringing its weapon down in a deadly arc. But Yulian is faster, dodging the blow as it shatters the floorboards. The size difference is staggering. He's completely outmatched in a direct fight. It raises its weapon again, preparing to end this once and for all. The spirit unleashes a furious strike, its umbrella cutting through the air. But its attack isn't aimed at Yulian. It's fighting the other spirits in the room. He realizes that even among ghosts, the raincoat spirit is the apex predator. He uses the ghostly turf war as a distraction to make his escape. Yulian finds a quiet corner to catch his breath, the clock ticking ominously nearby. A glance at the cracked clock face confirms he has only 4 minutes left. He's banking on the spirit fight to buy him the time he needs to pass. But a sudden, violent slam against the door shatters his brief moment of peace. The wood splinters and cracks as the spirit tries to force its way through. It breaks through, continuing its relentless hunt down the darkened hallway. He'd positioned himself by the back door, always planning his escape route. But with his options dwindling, he knows he has to make a move or die. He gambles on the spirit's tracking method, knowing it follows the scent of rain. The umbrella soars out the window, a perfect decoy in the downpour. With the bait set, he hides, believing he just needs to wait out the clock. But the sound of approaching footsteps doesn't belong to the raincoat spirit. He peeks out to see the hunter outside, but a new presence has entered the room. It's another examinee, a girl with a glowing eye and an unnerving calm. So much for being the only one in the test. With only a minute left, he knows graduation is within his grasp if he can just stay hidden. But a sudden, horrifying realization flashes across his face. His horror is a ringing phone that mysteriously appeared in his pocket. The door explodes inward, shattered by the spirit's relentless attack. His hiding spot is gone, leaving him exposed in the ruined classroom. A single glowing eye peers from the darkness, its voice echoing with triumph. But Yulian just smirks, annoyed that the examiners are messing with his plans. He sees the hunter's reflection, knowing this is a trap to force his talent. The ringing phone is a classic final-minute trap designed to force a desperate move. But the interruption comes from an unexpected source as another door is smashed open. It's the other examinee, now revealed in a yellow raincoat of her own. With the hunter behind him, Yulian makes a break for the other examinee. The raincoat spirit lunges, its weapon glowing with malevolent energy. But Yulian isn't focused on the spirit. He's impressed by the new girl's speed. The other examinee intercepts the attack, her own raincoat a blur of motion. This was all part of his plan, a calculated risk to create an escape route. He psychically rejects the spirit's demand, refusing to hand over the umbrella. He dives out the window, embracing the raging storm to escape the hunter. With only 30 seconds left, he just needs to survive the downpour. But the spirit reveals a fatal flaw in his plan. The rain is its domain. In a last-ditch effort, Yulian throws the ringing phone as a final distraction. The makeshift projectile finds its mark, striking the spirit from behind. A flash of lightning reveals the sudden, dawning horror in Yulian's eyes. The spirit's form distorts, its rage boiling over into a shadowy miasma. But Yulian just smirks, sarcastically noting how terrifying it all looks. He tries to reason with it, asking for a pass since graduation is so close. He even promises to bring it 10 umbrellas tomorrow, a truly desperate plea. The spirit ignores his bargaining and violently snatches the umbrella from his grasp. But its moment of triumph is cut short by a sudden, agonizing scream. With only 5 seconds left on the clock, Yulian's gaze is cold and focused. He had let go of the umbrella willingly, a calculated part of his final gambit. The umbrella reveals its true form, dragging the spirit down into the abyss. Looks like this ghost should have read the return policy. But instead of letting go, Yulian grabs the spirit's arm, refusing to let it fall alone. As they plummet, he finally recognizes the spirit's true identity, Zhang Qianqian. He holds on tight, pulling them both into a desperate freefall through the storm. The cursed raincoat begins to dissolve, its fabric peeling away in the rain. Beneath the tattered remains, the true form of the spirit is revealed, screaming in agony. The girl's spirit is now free, falling alongside Yulian as the exam's power fades. With incredible reflexes, Yulian slams his hand onto a window ledge, stopping his fall. He clings to the side of the building, knowing the final seconds are ticking away. Back in the control room, one of the proctors watches in disbelief at this turn of events. As the exam ends, the seal on his mind breaks and his memories come flooding back. He looks down, his theory confirmed. The spirit's weakness was the very rain it haunted. A wave of relief washes over him. His high-stakes gamble had paid off. A voice announces the exam is over, and a hand reaches out to pull him from the brink. But his mind replays the fall, a stark reminder of how close he came to death. He snaps back to reality, finding himself safe in a classroom, the nightmare finally over. The room buzzes with chatter as other students recount their own harrowing experiences. He listens quietly as a classmate remarks on how well their class performed. But another student reveals a grim truth. Not everyone was so lucky, and someone died. The friendly student is introduced as Zhou Zehao, the undisputed top student of their year. Zehao reveals that despite his rank, he begged Yulian for help just before the exam. Zehao admits to himself that his plea for help was just a pretense. He offers to treat Yulian to a meal, a friendly gesture to the slacker who aced the test. But their conversation is cut short as someone calls out Yulian's name. It's one of the proctors who congratulates him before asking for a private chat. Alone in the empty hallway, the mood shifts from celebratory to an interrogation. She immediately questions his final, high-risk move against the raincoat spirit. Yulian plays it off as a desperate, last-second gamble that just happened to work. But she's not buying it, questioning why he'd hide if he knew the solution all along. She reveals she saw him speaking to the spirit through the monitor, a detail he'd overlooked. Leaning in, she demands to know exactly what he said in those final moments. She realizes the truth. Yulian isn't incapable, he's deliberately holding back. Yulian plays dumb, claiming he just thanked the spirit for letting him pass. The proctor stares him down, her silence speaking volumes of her disbelief. She finally relents, dismissing him back to the classroom for now. The story shifts to City 075, a bustling metropolis in a broken world. While danger has forced many indoors, life in this city continues on. Its inland location spares it from coastal threats and limits spirit activity. Even at night, the city's restaurants are filled with a sense of normalcy. But a recommended 10 p.m. curfew is a stark reminder of the new reality. Back with the students, Zehao treats Yulian to an expensive barbecue dinner. The narration explains that after the spirits emerged, agriculture became humanity's top priority. But with the lands between cities now overrun, trade became nearly impossible. Spirits would often attack livestock, draining them of life when humans were scarce. But for some reason, the spirits showed no interest in vegetables. Guess ghosts aren't big on salads. As a result, meat became a rare and expensive luxury for most people. Zehao seems surprised that Yulian isn't drinking, but our boy feels just fine. In fact, he's confident his score will be much higher than anyone expects. Hearing this, Zehao gets excited, asking if Yulian will finally join him on missions. But Yulian quickly clarifies that his definition of doing well is very different from Zehao's. Zehao offers his congratulations anyway, simply relieved that his friend is safe. Yulian muses that with his usual grades, he might just break the school's record. Zehao then begins to recount the full tragic story behind the spirit scenario. After disappearing in the rain, Zhang Qianqian died and became the vengeful spirit. Having forgotten she was dead, her spirit was unconsciously drawn back to the school. Now, whenever it rains, her consciousness manifests as a spirit haunting the grounds. On the day of the incident, a few classes stayed late for an extra study session. The raincoat spirit slaughtered them, turning them into wandering, vengeful souls. And one by one, they became the second floor's permanent, very angry residents. Zehao reveals his strategy, lure the main spirit there to be delayed by the others. He praises Yulian's potential, realizing he must have deduced all this instantly. Zehao explains the spirit's core weakness, an absolute paralyzing fear of the rain. He asks how Yulian dealt with it, assuming he deduced the solution from the clues. Zehao correctly guesses Yulian's strategy, forcing the spirit outside into the downpour. Yulian confirms it's the simplest solution, as the rain renders the spirit powerless. Internally, Yulian realizes Zehao's detailed strategy will likely break the school record. He knows a score that high will land Zehao a spot on the Elite Action Team A. The Spirit Exorcist Bureau is broken down into 3 main branches. Team A is the front line, clearing the dangerous, spirit-infested no-man's lands. Team B acts as the city's protectors, hunting the source of localized hauntings. And Team C handles support and administrative tasks, the perfect gig for a professional slacker. The strategy team handles intel, supporting the frontline fighters from a safe distance. The patrol team acts as the city's watch, handling smaller threats or calling for backup. He muses that the examiner's last-minute phone trick backfired spectacularly. But his real goal is the patrol team, a perfect cover to investigate a certain incident. The elite action team is too observant. He needs to stay under the radar. Later that night, Yulian supports a very drunk Zehao on the walk home. In a drunken stupor, Zehao pleads with him to stay safe and alive. Yulian listens to his friend's heartfelt plea, his expression unreadable. He smirks, known for only taking risks when absolutely necessary, like, say, jumping out a window. He watches his friend stumble home, ensuring he gets inside safely. Once he's alone, Yulian walks the quiet city streets, lost in thought. He pulls out his phone, a message lighting up the screen. It's a mission briefing detailing a meeting that will likely summon a spirit. The scene shifts to an apartment, where a young woman washes her face. She finishes up, closing the cabinet above the sink with a quiet click. She turns, acknowledging Yulian's return as he enters the apartment. He explains he just got back from a mission and needed to rest. He tells her he's going to go get changed out of his gear. But as he passes, she catches a distinct scent in the air. She correctly guesses he went out for barbecue without her. Busted. He explains Zehao paid, but she promises to take him out next time. She asks about the exam, and he admits the proctor suspects he's hiding his true abilities. She seems confident he fooled her, but Yulian feels a little guilty for being a slacker. Changing the subject, he asks for final instructions before heading out on his mission. She warns him to be careful, having a bad feeling about unexpected developments tonight. He puts his faith in her foresight, looking up at her with a teasing expression. He jokes about the flattering angle before dodging her playful attempt to swat him. He calls out her name Shuangluo as he closes the door behind him. With Yulian gone, Shuangluo is left alone in the silent apartment. She looks into a mirror, asking a question to a reflection that isn't there. Well, that's not ominous at all. Her thoughts drift to a recent case, a spirit born from the grudges of the living. She recalls that Team B was dispatched and successfully eliminated the threat. A news report flickers across the screen, detailing a mysterious figure in black. This unknown ally left a trail of blood, leading the action team right to the spirit. Shuangluo watches the public thank you, a knowing look on her face. She wonders who else would use such a bizarre method to help. Hint, it's the guy who just left. The scene shifts to a 24-hour coffee shop, the location of Yulian's mission. Inside, a room is drenched in blood, a grim tableau of violence. A man's eye widens in terror as the carnage unfolds before him. He collapses in a screaming heap, his body crudely stitched together like a doll. A figure in black stands over the terrified man, offering a cold, simple command. Yulian reflects that his target died before he could even ask any questions. The spirit was born from a man who was framed, leading to a tragic family suicide. The city is quiet as Yulian makes his way through the lonely night. But the mission wasn't a total loss. He recovered the victim's personal jade pendant. He quickly realizes the pendant is a cursed item designed to amplify grudges. It's a tool that practically guarantees its victims will return as vengeful spirits. He decides to take the strange artifact back to Shuangluo for analysis. He muses that the mission was suspiciously easy for a supposed trap. But Shuangluo's warnings are rarely wrong, leaving him with a lingering sense of dread. But his easy mission is cut short as the patrol team arrives on the scene. Back at the apartment, Shuangluo's phone buzzes with an incoming call. She reaches for it, already sensing that something is wrong. Yulian texts her an update, explaining he found a clue on the dead target. She tries to calm his suspicions, but admits she's worried about his unstable soul. Despite her concern, a faint smile crosses her face. He's still the same Yulian. But her foresight tells her this night is far from over. So much for a quiet evening. The scene shifts as Yulian walks through the city's cultural district. He stops outside the art museum, noting a strange shift in its usual aura. It's a place of history, a window into the world before the spirits came, but his thoughts are cut short as he senses an approaching presence. A squad of elite exorcists emerges from the darkness, their presence imposing. They are Action Team B, the city's primary spirit hunters, and they look all business. Yulian ducks behind a corner, narrowly avoiding being discovered by the team. He realizes the patrol team must have called for backup, leading them right to his location. With no other choice, he decides to wait for them to pass before making his move. But a familiar chilling sensation washes over him as a new spirit scenario forms. The source is the art gallery, a coincidence that feels far too convenient to be random. He wonders if all the local spirits decided to throw a block party tonight. He can already tell this new threat is at least a terror rank, far deadlier than his exam. He realizes he's trapped between the elite team and a powerful new spirit. A silver-haired exorcist notes that at least there should be no civilian casualties. A team member confirms the scenario's range is expanding, pulling them all in. The captain learns the cafe incident is over, suspecting a mysterious helper. He confidently dismisses the need for reinforcements ready to handle the threat. The captain leads his squad forward, determined to neutralize the museum spirit. But a female member stops, sensing a hidden presence right where Yulian is hiding. The captain orders another agent, Dai Ruo, to investigate the disturbance. The silver-haired man deduces that the hidden person must be another exorcist. But the scout returns empty-handed, leaving the team baffled by the phantom presence. The silver-haired exorcist correctly deduces that someone is actively hiding from them. He finds the coincidence suspicious but decides to press on, intrigued by the mystery. As the team enters the scenario, they wonder about the identity of their unseen companion. Inside, Yulian reflects on the vice captain's speed, realizing how close he was to being caught. He's relieved to be inside the scenario, as it provides the perfect cover for his presence. He finds a locker key, planning to blend in and create an alibi if he's discovered. To his surprise, he realizes this is a role-playing scenario, a type reserved for terror rank spirits. Unlike a simple hunt, this kind of test has a plot and objectives, which suits him just fine. He knows his phone is useless here. All standard electronics fail within a scenario's domain. A voice over an intercom welcomes the collectors, signaling the start of the deadly game. The voice announces that a valuable piece from a Mr. Leon has escaped. It then gives a detailed description of the missing item, a handsome young man. Yulin realizes with dawning horror that he is the escaped collection. Meanwhile, the female member of Team B awakens in a dark, confined space. She finds herself bound, trapped within the spirit's twisted game. The suffocating darkness presses in, amplified by her heightened senses. She overhears the strange broadcast, trying to make sense of the situation. As the voice continues, she feels her prison being moved to an unknown location. She steels her resolve, preparing for whatever comes next. The lid opens to reveal a ghoulish figure, and she realizes she's the exhibit. The ghoulish collector admires its prize, planning to display her on the sofa. An attendant informs the collector that its new exhibit has awakened. They discuss her value while the attendant promises to recapture the escaped Mr. Leon. She's horrified to see other victims being placed into coffins by similar creatures. She recognizes this nightmarish scene from a famous painting she saw just moments ago. She recalls the painting's dark history, created by an artist who went mad and died. She realizes the spirit from the painting has manifested into a terrifying reality. A quick mental refresher confirms that art can indeed spawn lesser spirits. By listening in, she's managed to gather some crucial intel on her situation. She confirms this is a museum, and the current exhibition is the source of the horror. She deduces the collectors are worried because one of their prizes has already escaped. She learns the collections are sorted by value, with the best being sent to the third floor. And she realizes with grim annoyance that she's considered a valuable piece. She questions the scenario's rules, realizing they're all just objects in this twisted game. Elsewhere, Yulian dons a mask, blending in with the scenario's strange inhabitants. The female exorcist is relieved to find her teammates alive, even if they're boxed up for display. But her relief is short-lived as she realizes their captain and another member are missing. Her thoughts then turn to the mysterious presence they sensed before entering the museum. She recalls how the hidden figure's aura vanished, just as the vice captain went to investigate. She knows that evading the vice captain, Dai Ruo, requires either perfect stealth or impossible speed. The silver-haired exorcist connects the dots, realizing the hidden figure is the guy in black. The female exorcist is confident she can spot the mysterious stranger among the other captives. Meanwhile, Yu Lian, disguised as a collector, is directed to a lounge with the others. But she can't identify her teammates, who are all disguised as well. A masked announcer reveals the rules. A deadly game where only 10 collections will survive. The game involves an exhibition, a betting round, and a final ominous appreciation. The members of Team B listen in, looking thoroughly unimpressed by the theatrics. With the rules laid out, the team now understands the scenario's deadly structure. The ghoulish collectors leave, trusting the masked figure to handle their prizes. He enters a nearby restroom, only to find another victim of the museum's twisted game. Blending in perfectly, Yu Lian complains to another attendant about their uncultured clients. But once he's alone, he drops the act, bored by the whole tedious affair.